It feels like every single day it gets harder to answer a really simple question. Is what I'm seeing online real? Well, today we're going to unpack the European Union's pretty groundbreaking new plan to tackle that exact problem. And it's called the AI Act.
I mean, just think about it for a second. That customer service agent you were just chatting with, that totally wild video that just popped up in your feed, how can you really be sure where it came from? That feeling, that little bit of uncertainty, that's exactly what regulators are trying to fix.
So, the big answer from the European Union is this thing called the AI Act. And look, it's a huge, really comprehensive legal framework, but its main goal is to create some clear, consistent rules for AI. And at the very heart of it all is one simple, powerful idea: transparency. Okay, so let's dive into the first big area this act covers, and it's probably the one you and I run into most often: direct interactions. Yeah, I'm talking about chatbots, customer service, that kind of thing. We've all been there, right? You're stuck in one of those customer service chat loops, and you're just sitting there wondering, am I talking to a real person, or am I just typing in a really clever program? Well, according to the AI Act, that little guessing game, it's over. So here it is, the new rule, plain and simple. If you're interacting with an AI system, they have to tell you. It's now a legal requirement. Any system that's designed to talk to people has to be upfront about the fact that it's an AI. No more ambiguity. And here's the actual language from the law. It basically says you have to be informed, unless it's super, super obvious that you're not talking to a person. Like asking a smart speaker for the weather. Otherwise, they have to tell you. It's really all about creating a new baseline of honesty in our digital world. Okay, but what about when AI isn't just talking to us, but creating what we see? Now we're getting into the really tricky world of synthetic media. Yep, we're talking about deepfakes, where that old saying, seeing is believing, just doesn't apply anymore. And what's so important here is that the AI Act gives us an actual legal definition for deepfake. This isn't just internet slang anymore. It's now a specific regulated category of content, which means there are rules for how it can be used. So how do you even begin to tackle this stuff? Well, the Act comes at it with a really smart two-part solution. It creates this kind of chain of responsibility. The idea isn't just to slap a label on something after the fact, but to build transparency in from the ground up. So here's how that works. Step one is on the builders, the companies creating these AI tools. They have to make sure that whatever their AI spits out is marked in a machine-readable way. Think of it like a hidden digital watermark. Then, step two is on the user. If you use that tool to make a deepfake and share it, you are responsible for clearly telling everyone, hey, this isn't real, it's been artificially generated. All right, so we've talked about AI that talks to you and AI that creates things for you to see. But what about AI that reads you? That's right. Some systems are designed to analyze us, and the new transparency rules cover that too. Yeah, this is a really important one that doesn't get as much attention. We're talking about AI systems that try to figure out your emotions from your expression, or systems that categorize you based on things like your face or your voice. The AI Act is very clear on this. You have a right to know when that's happening. So to be specific, the law says you have to be notified if you're exposed to one of two things: an emotion recognition system or a biometric categorization system. It doesn't matter if it's for a company's market research or for some kind of security screening. The point is, you have to be told that an AI is analyzing you. Okay, so we have all these new rules, which is great, but it brings up a huge question. Who's actually responsible for making sure all this stuff happens? Who's on the hook? The Act is really smart about this. It splits the responsibility between two groups: providers and deployers. Think of it this way. The providers are the builders. They create the AI, and they're responsible for the tech side of things, like putting in those digital watermarks. The deployers are the users. They're the ones who take that AI and use it in the real world, and their job is to use those built-in features to make sure you, the public, are informed. So when you step back and look at all these pieces together, chatbots, deepfakes, emotion recognition, it becomes really clear that the EU AI Act is trying to do something big. It's aiming to fundamentally change our relationship with AI. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about regulating technology. It's about empowering people. The core principle driving all of these rules is incredibly simple. It's your right to know. You have a right to know when AI is part of your digital life. So let's just recap the big three. It really boils down to this: your right to know when you're talking to an AI, your right to know when content is fake, and your right to know when an AI is analyzing you. That's it. That's the new foundation for transparency in the age of AI.
Look, these rules are a huge, huge step towards bringing some much-needed clarity to our digital world. But it also leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. As we get better and better at spotting what's fake, how is that going to change how we trust what's real? And that's a question we're all going to have to figure out together.